Okay, and then I'm sorry. You'll have to do what you did before to bring your thing back up, and I'll go and get it back for you.
Okay.
In case. I mean, I know third world problem.
Yeah.
Look like it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get it to work, then
I will. I'll bring it back. All right, so we're going to start class now. This is being streaming live, so be careful. Trey.
you're being recorded.
Trey. So Miss Marist has come. Which office are you with?
I'm not an agent.
Well, you were.
No.
It says on Facebook. I thought you were.
Oh, I was an assistant.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, at the
Peachtree Road office.
very cool with Miss Robin.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So now you do this full time now.
Yes.
This is your life.
Yes, this is my life.
You're what?
So Lisa, I said she does this full time now, right? And she likes it, which is what that we're about to learn. Okay, and the marketing is what you do for other agents.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you like to describe what else you do, Ms. Marist?
Yes. So my name is Marist, and I own Marist Inc., which is my marketing company that I've started, and we specialize in real estate marketing. And the purpose of this class today is to discuss getting organized to get set up for marketing. As a whole, I work with agents and teams and different people just within the real brokers that I work with to help build their overall business. So what that looks like from the marketing perspective is 1, getting organized, getting set up. Number 2, getting your branding in place. So for a lot of agents, that just looks like how to brand yourself outside of just Keller Williams. And building your company name, building your logo, all of that sort of stuff. The next kind of main thing that we focus on is social media and your web presence as a whole. So once we talk about all of this, I don't want to spend too much time talking about that because those are the next few classes coming in. But as a whole, I just basically help agents with their marketing planning and strategies. So getting organized. This class, we want to talk about your database. So how many people right now are using eEdge as your CRM? Who else? What other systems are you guys using?
I use Booking,
Okay.
Outlook, Top Producer.
Anything else? Is there a reason why the people who aren't using eEdge don't use eEdge? Is there something you really like about Top Producer or one of the other ones?
Just started with it.
Yeah, I just started with it. Okay.
Once I learn something, I don't really like to anymore.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, well, today I'm going to touch a little bit on eEdge just because, of course, like eEdge is the CRM that Keller Williams provides to you, and it's one that I'm pretty familiar with. And I feel like for a lot of agents, since it technically is like free through your dues with Keller Williams, that's the one that I'm going to use to give examples for how to get organized.
Is the one you like?
I recommend eEdge, I would say, for beginning agents. A lot of the other CRMs that people will jump into, a lot of times is because of maybe different marketing campaigns. They'll get pulled into that. They really like the email blast or the different touch systems that you can put on. But for agents that work with me, we typically come up with custom ones. So it's kind of like if you want to put the money in it, it ends up being a lot of money. I feel like that maybe an added expense you don't need. No.
Just keep going.
Okay, so I broke this down into the 5 main things that I think of when I think of first getting organized and I first sit down with an agent. So number 1 would be creating your database. By that, I mean pulling together all of your contacts. So a lot of times when I meet with agents, I find out that their contacts are kind of all over the map. Maybe they're in eEdge. A lot of them are automatically imported through Dotloop. Maybe they're in your phone or your email or any other place that you might have them. So getting all of your contacts together on one spreadsheet, I think, is one of the best things you can do in the very beginning. Because once you have all of them together, you can separate them and group them. So the importance of grouping your contacts is so that you can strategically market to them down the line. You want to know who you're marketing to, the types of marketing campaigns that you should put on them. And furthermore, I'm sure, how many of you guys have heard like a million times that your database is your business?
Yes.
Anyone?
Yes.
Yeah. So your database is your business, and that's because if you are really good at organizing your database and knowing exactly who you have, everyone in your world in one place where they should be, then you will be able to build a referral-based business that will really help you to grow your business outside of having to lead generate and constantly prospect. So entering your database into a CRM, whether you've started in a CRM like eEdge, or you need to put everyone into a CRM because you don't have them there yet, putting them into a CRM can allow you to do a few things. So eEdge in particular, I know, is good for a few things. If you don't want to do a customized campaign, then they have a lot of touch campaigns that are already in there. You can add reminders to them, which is really important. I always recommend that agents, when you're entering them into your CRM, to have the really key points that you want to remember. If you worked with buyers, you want to have their home anniversary. If you want to, there's different touch things that you can do. So if you want to wish them a happy birthday, you would have their birthday in there. If they're a lead, then you can put them on a lead plan, a lead contact follow-up plan. You can set those reminders. So having everyone in your database so that you can strategically go through on a monthly basis or whatever it is to update it and make sure their contact info is current, then that's really important. So the next thing we're going to talk about once we go through that is reviewing the different types of marketing campaigns. I'm going to touch on the three main ones that Keller Williams kind of teaches and who you should put on those and why. And then the last thing I think that's really important for getting yourself organized is reviewing your web presence. A lot of people I have found do not realize what will come up if you search for yourself or for your company's name online. And going through that process of figuring out what happens when you search yourself, what your name is connected to, what links are working, the consistencies and inconsistencies, that really allows you to get yourself organized in a way that will give you credibility online, which is a huge thing. So separating and grouping your database. The way that I do this, which I found to be the most effective, it's a little bit tedious, but I still think it's really effective. I like to use Google Drive. Is anybody else a fan of Google Drive and Live Sheets? Okay, great. Does someone want to explain to everyone who doesn't use it why is such a benefit? Do you know?
You can access from any computer, and my whole team can access any document.
Yeah, and they're live.
It's like sharing a hard drive.
Mm-hmm. So one of the reasons why I love Google Drive so much is that everything is live. So if you have an Excel spreadsheet, especially when it comes to organizing people's contact info, and you don't want to be sending back and forth the same spreadsheet of information and maybe not have the most updated one, if you do it through Google Drive, then it'll automatically update it, it'll automatically save it, and you can share it and you can edit it live with other people. So I always recommend putting it on a live sheet, but just the same, you can do it in an Excel file. So putting everything in a hard copy Excel file, I think is really important from the get-go for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you were to ever leave Keller Williams for some reason, you have all of your contacts there in a sheet that you can easily access and take with you. Not that you couldn't before, but one of the things, if you guys are familiar with eEdge, you'll know when you go to export groups or export your contacts, they're completely jumbled and they don't separate and organize based on the groups. It just pulls the contact information and it's really jumbled. So if you start from the beginning with separating it on a live sheet or an Excel sheet, then you can have the different groups organized and you know exactly who you're marketing to. So I do this by creating tabs, which I'm going to show you, and then using a number coding system for organizing. So this is an example of the sheet. Hopefully you guys can see it. So at the very top, you'll see those are the columns that have all the names for importing, like first name, last name. It goes all the way down. So it has a section, I think, still to add birthdays, to add notes, to add anything that you need. And I have this sheet set up to where it will automatically import into most CRMs. So this one specifically was the example that came from eEdge. And from there, I found that you can, for top producer, it works for top producer too. So the top is basically essentially set up so that you can download it as a CSV and import it. The bottom down here, this is what I was talking about, and I said that I separate them into group names and then numbered and tabs. So the benefit of this, an example of this, if you look over here, so we have this tab right here that says My KW. So what I typically will do, let's say you pulled everyone from your email, everyone from your phone, everyone from your e-edge because you want to look at everyone all together. So I'll create however many tabs it is of like these master list of contacts, okay? So they'll start in these groups. I'll import the information to have it set up to where, it falls in line with the columns. And then I insert an extra column. So let's say next to the first name, I add an additional column here. That's going to be the column that I use this number coding system for. And the reason why this ends up being really easy is because you have a cheat sheet essentially down here where it says personal, vendor, KW agent, non-KW agent, task clients, VIP clients, and it goes on and on. I put the most common ones that are used, definitely the top 8 that are recommended. But you can organize it. I mean, you can put your holiday card list in there, your farm in there, whatever it is. You can have whatever group names you want. So what I recommend is to go ahead and set these tabs to look exactly like what you would want your CRM to be grouped as. So by having this number coding system, you can start to go through the names and just assign a number to the contact. So by using the number system, you can go through and you can say, okay, 1111111, because these are all just personal contacts. Then you see a KW agent, you put a 3. Then you see a non-KW, you do a 4. You see a vendor, you put a 2. So once you memorize these numbers and know the numbers, you go through and just add the numbers like that. And then you can sort the list, sort the column A to Z. It'll put all the numbers together. So then you could easily just take all of the ones and plop them into the personal tab. Then all the 2s, put them in the vendor tab. But this also allows you, while you're organizing it, to see where contacts lap over and all that sort of thing. So I found, especially if you are working with maybe an assistant or somebody on your team, or if you're working with us, it becomes extremely easy and streamlined for me and the agent to work together to kind of sort through these contacts. And by the end of it, you can just look at them group by group, and you can say, okay, this is definitely just Keller Williams agents. These are just vendors. And then once you have your past clients, VIP clients, buyers, sellers, you can go and find what's missing. If you're missing a birthday for them, you're going to really be able to see very easily. And I just feel that being able to compartmentalize, the contacts in that way while you're looking at them just gives you a lot different understanding of who you have and who you might be missing, and then how many people you're going to be marketing to. So when we go into other classes where we dive really deep into setting people up maybe on mailers or email campaigns or whatever it is, you're going to have a really clear understanding of how many people are getting what, and you can easily take these groups out at any point that you need them. So that's kind of the purpose of using this sheet, and so that it's set up in a way to where when you are ready to import it into the CRM, it's just ready to go and it'll be assigned, it'll go into the groups.
Do those names go into each one of those tabs down at the bottom, or we just use the tab at the bottom by the number to know which categories they fall in? Because I know the tabs, that tab says personal. Will the personal contact be in there as well? That's something we'll do that.
Yeah, so the personal contact will, once you organize the master list, as I call them, maybe everyone from your email or whatever, once they're assigned the one, then you essentially copy and paste all the ones, or I would say copy and paste so you can keep your master list still there, and then just paste them into the different groups. And it works the same if they fall under multiple groups, you can apply them to multiple groups. It's kind of a hard thing to fully talk through. Yeah. But so like I said, it's as tedious as it sounds, but it's super, super beneficial, and it really is tedious. But it works wonders. And I feel that agents, after they do this, have had, I don't know if I have anyone in here who's done it with me, but it completely takes a weight off your shoulders to have that separated. Okay, so I took some screenshots from eEdge just to show you guys like some of the basic tools. Because if you are going to do this on your own, there's just a couple things like if you haven't taken a class on eEdge or don't know, that might be confusing. So once you log into your MyKW, then you have like your picture, and then you have like the little like box, and then where you can go to the internet, and then above that I think is where it says contacts. So once you go in, this is what you would be looking at. So this would be, well, they're in groups. So you would see like your master list of all of your people. And then if you go up here to contacts, you're going to see all contacts, recently active, add a contact, manage groups, import, export. So let's say that you just did that whole entire spreadsheet. You have all of your contacts organized. You know exactly what groups they're going to go in and where you want them to belong. But you have no groups created in eEdge. You can go to eEdge, you can go to manage groups, and then you can easily create a group. So you'll see this line like this. And you can type, and a lot of people will still use the number system. So they'll say number 1, personal, create the group. Number 2, vendor, create the group. So you can manage the groups, you can add all of the groups in there, and then you'll have all the groups that you have. Then this slide is more or less just to show you if you already have groups or maybe you individually need to add someone later, that's where you would go to add a contact. So that's like an individual contact. You're not going to upload any list there. So import contacts to the CSV. So this is the same kind of sample of the spreadsheet that I was just talking about, but this would be a single CSV. So when you go to export each tab, you would export it, call it that tab's name, and make sure that it's exported as a CSV. And then you go to, where is it? Okay, so you go here to where it says import export, and then this is showing the export. But you would go here to import. It asks you if you want to upload a CSV. You choose the CSV. You select the group name you just chose. You upload it, and it's completely organized exactly like you just did on the spreadsheet. So not only are you going to have it in your eEdge perfectly organized from the get-go when you're uploading it, but you're also going to already have the hard copy that's clean and organized, so you don't have to worry about exporting it from eEdge later. Okay, so this I wanted to show you because I'll come across a situation where maybe the agent has a lot of contacts already in eEdge and then a lot of contacts not in eEdge yet. So they don't necessarily want to go through organizing them on the sheet if they already have all the information in there, but they want to change the group that they're in. So you can search for a contact, and you can search based on groups. You can do all of this in this search menu. So later down the road, I guess when you're looking for a particular group, you would go to the search engine. You can find the groups there. You can search based on hot, sold, all that sort of stuff. So if you're in this search engine and you want to search for someone's name, you find their name, and then you go to the very, very bottom. You find groups, and then you just click on the group. You can check mark however many groups you want them to be in, and that's how you would individually add those contacts to the groups that you've created. And then if you want to cross-reference your groups later, you can just do that by going here and searching for the names in the group category. Okay, does anyone have questions about the spreadsheet? Yeah.
I do. Okay, so in the beginning, what you do is you go to Google Drive and you set up the spreadsheets there, and that's where you basically start.
Mm-hmm.
And put everybody in
Mm-hmm.
that you want to have in. And then going forward, like if I meet someone tomorrow, then I go in and I put them in Google Drive, right? Or do you recommend going straight into eEdge at that point?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I recommend doing both. So this is where it can be extremely tedious, I guess, if you're just one person and you're managing both. But adding them to the spreadsheet, I would always add them. I would use that as your home base always. Add them to that spreadsheet. Go ahead, put them in the group. And then at the same time, go in and add them to eEdge. And that's just so that you don't have to, go through the mess of organizing it later.
One thing, and I think this is correct. If you use .loop and you go into .loop and you do your contract, I believe it's automatically in eEdge.
Yes, it is. So when contacts are automatically uploaded in .loop, kind of the way that I'll go through, maybe like once a month or something, you can go into that little search engine. And I don't know if it's not showing right here on this screenshot. And I don't know if it's there or I feel like it's over here when you pull it up. But basically, there's a way to look up who's coming through Dotloop, and you can specifically search by that. So that's just kind of like a maintenance thing that I would say maybe once a month go in, or however often you want to go in, find who's in Dotloop. But when you see your contacts, you'll be able to know whether or not they're in the group or not. You can find the ones who aren't and just plug them into the groups from there. And also, if you're working with,
That search tool where you can see if they came in via Yahoo,
Mhm.
does it show you if they came in from other places, like, for example, like a Zillow lead? Like, can you search and see if it came from?
I've never have tried, so I can't answer that. But I do know for a fact that I have gone to use, I'm not sure, it might, you can see. But I know for a fact that you can search based on Dotloop specifically. But if you do have it set up to where contacts automatically import from anywhere, you should be able to search by that.
Okay.
And I was going to say, too, a tip if you maybe have someone or work with someone on a team, kind of the way that agents and I will, because maybe they don't, they just want to be able to, if they're going to use one thing, they just want to use one thing. They don't want to think about adding this contact to multiple places.
Yeah.
So what I recommend is if you do want to have this as the back, like having it on the spreadsheet already organized is like key, but I would say, well, what I do with agents is they go in and they'll either highlight or you can make comments on live sheets. You can do so much on live sheets to where it automatically communicates with anyone else that it's shared with, and that would register to them to update it. So I don't know.
Yeah, because
That
really,
makes sense.
let's say you put it in your phone, because
Yeah.
that's usually where it goes to first.
Mm-hmm.
Then so really you're having, it's 3 different times that you're adding if you're doing it anyway.
So do you?
Yeah, if you're gonna put it in, you have to enter it in your phone, then you're gonna enter it in the spreadsheet, and then you're gonna enter it in the e-edge.
So do you normally when you put it in your phone, do you just put it as like you add a contact? So what do you normally do with them after it's, like, do you transfer them at any
I
point
jump
after
right
that?
on and put it right in e-edge, so all of them. That's the problem, that's why I'm saying to get it in 3 things now is I'm just thinking, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just being honest,
Yeah.
I can't imagine time,
Yeah. I mean, my whole purpose in talking about this from this angle is for the back end. Like it is tedious, but when you sit down, when it comes to starting to do, when you put all these like marketing plans in place, and a lot of times when you need those groups to be able to have that information there, it just ends up being a lot easier, especially when it comes to mailings and all of that. So, I don't know, it's just one thing you can do to organize that I've seen kind of help.
What you said,
Yeah.
You can take the new contacts, put it inside the edge, and then as they on a monthly basis, just go in and upload it to your Excel or your
Yeah. Or maybe you just set a reminder. Like maybe if you upload them to one spot, you set yourself a reminder for that contact, like add to the spreadsheet, like in a month or whatever, and just maybe only update that spreadsheet every month before you're going to send out your marketing piece or whatever you're going to do.
I have a question. Isn't eEdge connected with Market Leader?
Yes.
So there's a Market Leader app.
Mhm.
So question to you. You can add contacts in the Market Leader, but it automatically uploaded to the eEdge.
Yes. So it's just a matter, yeah. So whether they're automatically wherever they're coming from. This is just my recommend. Honestly, this tool is best used when you have people, how you want to go moving forward with it. You may or may not ever use the spreadsheet ever again, but it's really, really helpful, at least in the beginning, to kind of get everyone organized, because it's nearly impossible if you have them all in eEdge to try and group them and do all of that. You're going to have to go one by one. It's
I
very
was just
tedious.
gonna say, if you're gonna use like an outside company like Express Copy or something to send a postcard to your whole database, that's the way they want it. They want it like on a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So those are the kind of things, because you can just go and export the tab.
and isn't Market Leader in there
That's
charged
easy.
for that?
It's a charge to
I
buy
don't know.
leads from them.
Oh, is that what it
Or
is?
to buy leads.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because KW partnered up with Market Leader,
Mhm.
so that we have the benefit of it. So that's part of what the partnering is.
Yeah.
I understand.
it does. It does automatically go in there. And definitely do that way. So, I mean, and I'm not like I don't like work for Keller Williams. I just happen to know enough about EADS just to tell you how I use it with agents, but those are just the main things I wanted to touch on, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of tips if you weren't that familiar with it. So we're going to move on and talk about marketing campaigns, because organization is very important, but really what I'm all about is like marketing, getting them on marketing things. Like the other classes, honestly, I'm a little bit more excited to teach, but this is super crucial and it's fundamental, and that's why it's first. So again, I pulled these types of marketing campaigns because hopefully you guys will be familiar with them. But what I did is kind of break down what they should be used for, because I'm sure a lot of people, you might have heard about an 8x8, a 33 touch, a 12 direct, so on, but maybe you're not super familiar on who should be on which type of campaign. So before I go into it, who can tell me what an 8x8 is? What does that mean?
8 touches in 8 weeks.
Yes. So an 8x8 is 8 touches in 8 weeks. It's the most aggressive type of marketing campaign that you can do, because you are touching 8 times in a row for 8 weeks straight. So that's a lot for these people to be hearing from you. So you want to be very, very particular about who you would put on an 8x8 campaign. So the way that I wrote it out was, number 1, you would want to have not met buyers and sellers. So website leads. So maybe somebody comes in, you get a lead from your website. That would be an example of someone, they're actively looking, they're searching, they're interested, and you know they're interested because they came in on your website and gave you their lead. So that person you would want to put on an 8x8. If you met people at an open house and they're active or hot status. So just, again, real fast, you can categorize people as active, as a lead. You can categorize them in these different statuses as a cold lead, as a hot lead when you're in your EADS. It's another way to hyper-organize people. But open house next. If you gather lists because you hosted an open house, those are great contacts to put on an 8x8 campaign, because you know that they want to be taught, that they're interested, and you want them to know that you're there and you're ready to service them now. And if they hear from you consistently for 8 weeks in a row, they're going to feel really confident that you're going to have the time, the capabilities, and the expertise to service them. Committed and uncommitted sellers. This basically is just, if you think of 8x8s as a whole, then I would say anyone who's looking to buy or sell in 3 months or less. So if you feel that they fall under that category, then these people would be on an 8x8. So once I go through them, then I'll kind of tell you some examples of these different types of campaigns. So 33 touch. What is a 33 touch?
33 touches in a year.
Yeah. Thank you. So 33 touches, a 33 touch plan, which I think now, correct me if I'm wrong, is that like a 36 touch plan? Okay. The concept basically is that you would touch. So touch is just being in contact with these people in one way or another. There's so many different types of touches that you can do. And when I talk about planning in the 4th class, that's where we really break down and like dive into the touch plans and the different types of content that you can put in them. So the 33 touch is used for, so you have to think these people are consistently hearing from you for an entire year more often than not. So you want to touch buyers who are still looking, who are active in hot status, uncommitted buyers and sellers, retry status, clients who you're currently working with, you would put on a 33 touch. And as a whole, if you just want to think about it, and anyone looking between 6 to 12 months to buy or sell, you would put them on a 33 touch. A 12 direct. How often is a 12 direct? 12 times a year. So once a month. So this is the least aggressive marketing campaign that you could put anyone on. So a 12 direct is one that in general a lot of agents who haven't been marketing to their database and haven't been reaching out, maybe you haven't touched your farm ever, you really want to jump in, you want to start marketing to your neighborhood, you would put them on a 12 direct. So these people will hear from you once a month. It's not too aggressive. You're going to mix in value pieces versus call to actions, and it's going to be a really light touch to where there's like, oh, hey, I see this person again, the next month. And it's not too aggressive to where you have to be concerned about whether or not they're going to be really offended by all of the awesome marketing you're sending them. So in general, you can think of this as anyone who's a sold status, because in a 12 direct, you would really honestly want to be providing value a lot more than you're actually asking for business or having a call to action. Because a 12 direct, I like to explain it as a marketing campaign, you would want to use just to remind people, almost strictly to remind people that you're in the business. You're a realtor, you're there. It's a really good one to use to try and build that referral base, because it might be friends and family, it might be people who are in sold status. They're not necessarily looking to buy or sell right now, but they would probably appreciate, if you're sending them like a football magnet to the farm or whatever it is that you're sending. That's just a value piece, like, hey, your realtor information is on there. They might know someone looking to buy or sell, and they'll give your name out. And then just anyone not currently looking in inactive status. So, real quick, E-Edge and a lot of other, I think Top Producer has marketing campaigns. Is that right? Do they have marketing campaigns built in it already? So they'll have, definitely E-Edge has these pre-generated marketing campaigns. So you can, if you don't want to build a custom one, go in, recognize now that you have all your contacts organized, maybe who will fall under what, and attach them to these different campaigns. Or if you don't like, which a lot of people don't like, the pre-generated things because they want it to be custom, then that's one of the things that we help with, is coming up with custom plans. So you might do a very, very hyper-local focused 8x8 for your farm. If you want to really aggressively introduce yourself to your farm, if you want to be the known specialized realtor in that neighborhood, then you could do one, and it would be very tailored to them. So coming up with the custom plans is something that's huge, and it's one of the things that I recommend, even if you do go with any of these third-party companies that provide the pre-generated ones. I would just recommend that you go in and you make sure that it's personalized enough to where you're not sending out content that you don't know what they're getting. Because I have a lot of agents who will be like, Marist, someone called me and they said they're getting 10,000 emails from me a week. What's the deal? And I'll go in their E-Edge and I'll find that they have them on all these campaigns. Or they'll call them about something specific and they don't even know, the agent didn't realize that's what they were sending out. And you just don't want to be stuck in a situation where you're sending people information or even tips and then they call you and you have no idea what's happening. So I'm a huge fan of customizing marketing because, you can enhance your brand, and it's just, you can be in control of what you're sending and how you're sending it. So it's key for that. Does anybody have any questions about campaigns or types of campaigns? No. Okay, so one of the last main things is reviewing your web presence. So this is something you can do on your own. It's also something that we offer to do for you. But as a whole, reviewing your web presence is essentially knowing what people will find when they search for your name online. So the first thing you could do is search for yourself, search for your company name if you go by your company name, if you do business under that. And then the other thing is to evaluate inconsistencies. So I made a short little list of some of the main things that you want to look for. Your headshot. So many agents will have headshots from back in the day. They don't even look like them. And then they have their updated headshot on their website. And then they don't even look like the same person. And you don't know who you're confusing. So I would just recommend, number one, get your same headshot and everywhere that your business is. Same thing with the logo. If you've redesigned your logo, if you have a different logo, go in and take that stuff off of the places where it doesn't need to be. If you're going to be building your brand and you want people to associate you with your brand, then number one, your face is your brand, right, Trey?
That would be correct.
And number two, you have your logo. And you want your headshot and your logo to be there. And also, you just have to think of it as I don't know if imprinting is the right word, but it's the same idea when you send out mailers, you send out any marketing. You want to have everything kind of set up the same, because if people start to see, we'll dive into this next week, but people will start to see your headshot and your logo, and if they see that associated with all this value and all this content, then that's the part that they're going to remember the most, is that they keep seeing that same headshot and the same logo. So the other thing is your bio. If you haven't updated your bio in a really long time, I think that is really beneficial, not only because it plays a huge part into your SEO and can help people find you faster if your bio is really well written and describes everything that you can help with, but it's very important to have a consistent bio. If you used to work with a different, I guess LinkedIn is probably the number one where we'll find that it's just completely, what it's like, what they offer, what they do is just completely backwards from like everything related to their real estate. If you have a LinkedIn and you haven't updated, I would strongly recommend going in and updating that about profile, because if you can match that to also match the intro to your business Facebook page or the intro to your I guess your website and your contact page, then that just makes your SEO stronger, because the consistency of the words and what you have put together is going to kind of lump those pages more consistently together when you're looked up. So if you have the consistency, it's really key. So social media pages and links. Social media pages, it's kind of what I just went over. So having your Facebook profile, all of that updated the same way that your LinkedIn is. Your Zillow page is connected to your Trulia, so you don't have to worry about updating Trulia also, but updating your Zillow page. And then one of the things I find so often is that a lot of links don't work. So I think it's on your Zillow page or different places where you have, like, it might automatically say, if you don't get rid of it, like visit my Facebook page or visit this. There's just a lot of random links that people might come across your Zillow or your KW profile, and you don't realize that all those links are there. And a lot of people I've found like haven't even imported like that information. So people will go to click on that to email you or call you, and the phone number is outdated or the email's incorrect or it's just not there at all, and then they can't find these pages, and you could just really be missing out on people bouncing around from page to page. So the inconsistencies and getting those cleaned up will really help tie your web presence together, because you want it to be a web to where when you're on any of these other various pages, if someone solely finds you through Zillow and you have a business Facebook page, and that's a stronger credibility for you than your Zillow because you're still working on building your reviews, then you want them to be able to really clearly go to your Facebook page and know that it exists. So updating the links is key. Contact info. If you change offices, remove that like everywhere. You don't want to have your old office number, not only just for the fact that it's inconvenient, they're trying to get a hold of you or contact you, and you don't belong to that office anymore, but it's just an issue with compliance and all of that. So updating your contact info, your website. Now that I think about it, I don't even know if I put a big piece of, anybody has questions about your website that you want to talk at any point one-on-one, there's just a ton of stuff on your website that a lot of people don't know. I'm sorry, by your website, I'm referring to Placer specifically, like Keller Williams' website that they give you. And there's a lot that people don't realize you can do, like adding a home value page, tweaking area pages, and that's really key too whenever when you're building all of these things. Because if you're area pages, like index pages, yeah, there's just a lot you can do on your Placer site. And so if anyone has questions about that, because I might try and build it into one of the other classes, but there's a lot you can do on your website that will link you in with all this other stuff I was talking about. So on your website, missing information, having your service areas, and by that, it's not necessarily having the service area pages, but just looking at your website and trying your hardest to look at it not like as a consumer, somebody, just looking at it for the first time. Like, is it clear where you specialize? Is it clear the area that you focus in? Are your pictures reflective of the Atlanta market? Like, or do you have houses and stuff? A lot of people are always complaining how Michael Lewis Marketing Suite is just a lot. I don't want to say a lot. I don't know. But Keller Williams Marketing or Michael Lewis Marketing Suite is based in California, so they have a ton of like West Coast images, and a lot of people won't swap that out, and that can just be a little bit confusing. It's not that big of a deal, but you want all of the pictures in your website, everything like that, to be consistent with the areas that you focus in. You want it to reflect Atlanta and all of that, and people want to know if you can somehow make yourself appear to be super specialized, hyper local to very specific neighborhoods or areas, And that's really key in the conversion rate for people who end up on your website who will choose to work with you or not. Outdated listings, that's just kind of like a compliance thing. On social media profiles, your Facebook page, you can't have your listing up there still as a featured listing if it's sold. There's just a lot of stuff like to look for when you're going through, and definitely it doesn't look good to have, I guess, outdated listings and stuff. Even in the groups, if you're in the Rawls group on Facebook pages, like go in, market sold, like just try and keep up with that the best you can. Info, it's kind of the same thing. And then missing profiles and needed profiles. So a lot of people are missing Zillow pages. I don't really know how that works. Do you guys have to like buy a Zillow page?
No, free profile.
You do? Okay. Well, I would recommend, I wasn't sure because a lot of times I'll look up an agent on Zillow and I just can't even find them at all. And on that note, if anybody needs help like getting testimonials on Zillow or your Facebook page or whatever, building your testimonials, I have a template that I can send you. That's really good. It seems to be really, I don't know, helpful. Agents will get a good response from it. I'll send it to you. The missing profiles, needed profiles, that's just knowing where are you missing out on. Do you have your Zillow updated? Do you have a business Facebook page? Do you want a business Facebook page? Do you have a LinkedIn? Do you have a business account LinkedIn? A business account on Facebook. Those are just all things to think about. Profiles that you might need that you can kind of glance over and you realize when you do this sweep through. All right, this is last but not least, and then if anyone has questions, we can go over that. This is just to show you, just to say real quickly that we can help with all of these things. We have a starter package at Marist Inc. where we will do all of these things for you. We have a lot of experience, and I can give any testimonials anyone needs for if anyone is interested and would like to talk to other agents who've had this done. But if you go to my website, if you go to maristinc.com/starter, I very, very clearly and detailed break down the things that are all encompassing in the starter package. And give or take, it'll all happen over the course of about 3 months, and that's 100% dependent on you guys and how quickly, because it's in the beginning, it's a joint process of getting all of this stuff organized and put together. But we do offer a starter package, and if anyone's interested or needs the help, then feel free to reach out to us. I have a live form on my website also that looks like that in the contact page, and it'll walk you through its little mini survey. It'll give you an overview of how we can help and all the different services we offer, so if anyone wants to fill that out, feel free. And the next classes, just so you guys know, next week I'm going to be talking about branding, and I will go really a little bit deeper into how you can build your brand by filling out your profiles a certain way, the things to look out for when you're doing that. We talk about social media the next week, and then the next week we talk about marketing calendar consultation, and that is a consultation where we go in and we build your entire marketing plan for the whole entire year. So you have your touch plans for every single group, like already outlined and detailed. You get a digital copy of your marketing calendar, and it's really useful whether you have a team, whether you want to outsource it to somebody, to have all of your marketing kind of pre-planned, and then it's very streamlined from then. And yeah, does anyone have questions? No questions. Do you feel like that helped at all? Did I teach you anything? Okay.
I keep on getting emails from this company called Alignable. Do you know, is that a social,
I'm not sure.
They're a referral company. It's like a referral. So you put your name in there and then they refer you. Because I'm the next marketer, It's Alignable, it's free. So you sign up and then people start hooking you up. People across the country.
kind of like LinkedIn?
It's kind of like LinkedIn, but you don't pay for it. It's free.
That's
And
cool.
Zillow, you don't pay for it. No, what I'm saying, Alignable is free.
Okay. So,
So I get emails all the time.
I'd just like to ask, how many of you pay for leads from marketing?
No.
Yeah, that's in Gary, he's big about staying on top of your database. That's the place to build your software. Stay close with your database. Spend that money you're gonna spend on leads by marketing, like Marist was talking about, creating a marketing calendar. Don't waste money on leads.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that too. Yeah, I would agree. Just from what I've heard from each, because I'm always asking people who pay for, well, I don't know what you do on Zillow, but paying to be on Zillow or whatever it is. Like honestly, I feel like the best thing, the most success that I've seen, and I'm one of these days gonna get these agents to sit down and like give me a testimonial because they are so you guys are so busy, so I don't have a lot of like clear testimonials. But I'm gonna get some on video so you can see. But they to just sit down and do the basics. Like, don't get sucked into all this stuff that's overly, like, just makes you buy in and you don't know what's happening on the back end. Like, don't just pay for these generic things to go out because it says that. It just takes a little bit of time, just time block a little bit, just sit down and think about what you want to send, and it'll transform, and your money is going to be so much better spent because you're going to know exactly what you're sending out. It's going to be sent out exactly the way you want it, and it's going to be with your brand, and you're not going to just be sending out the same thing that everyone else is doing, or like I talked about earlier, something you just don't even know what's going out.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with EH. Do you help with blogs?
Yes.
I want to do a blog.
Okay.
Like, that has nothing to do with real estate, but it does.
Oh, okay. We can talk about blogging. Yeah, we can talk about blogging.
Yeah.
I'm really, and like I hated that. I hate having to just talk like so long about just this piece because it's to me like the more boring. But if you guys come back to the other classes, I promise like I'll really give you a lot of ideas for jumping in, creating these different plans, the kind of content you can put in, the ways you can post on Facebook and social media, and just how you can capitalize on all of that. And it's a lot more fun and colorful, and like it's just more fun than this. But if you don't have your database organized, you just have to do that first, because you're going to go back 6 months from now and be like, man, all these people I was missing out on in my phone, I could have been marketing to you. The people who organize their database and start doing it, I can't tell you how many agents are like, oh my gosh, like this person didn't even know I was in real estate, and I told them like 5 times, and then I sent them this email, I sent them my first newsletter, and they get all this amazing feedback from this newsletter because it's real personal, and it like you just have no idea who you could be missing out on. So, and also, I guess if anyone wants to individually talk about their business or blogging or whatever, I offer complimentary hour consultations, and I'll sit down with you. I'll come here. You can tell me everything you're thinking about your business. I'm fully aware that like some people like just really love doing different avenues of stuff and have different goals for their businesses. So if anyone wants to talk, just let me know.
What about like, if you want to send somebody like snail mail, where do you recommend you put that address? Would that be on the Google Drive sheet? So
Yes.
if you wanted to like print labels.
Yes. Oh, so there's a very specific way to print labels. It's different depending on what you use. Like if you have a Mac, I can send you. I know I keep mentioning all these different stuff I can send you. If anyone wants me to send them anything, my email's it's marist@maristinc.com. But you can fill out this contact form too and just tell me anything you need. I'll just tell you a couple things. I have a contact follow-up plan that I can send you. I have the sheet for printing labels that I can send you. Next week when we talk about branding questions, there's a branding question outline that I can send to you, and I feel that there's something else I said.
So you mentioned the testimony.
Oh yeah, it's marist@maristinc.com.
There's something else you said.
Oh yeah, the testimonial template.
Testimonial template.
If anyone would like the testimonial template, those are little freebie things I don't mind sending everyone. Yeah. Oh, the what?
Meta tags.
Oh, the meta tags. What was the question? It was about. Oh, about the types of meta tags. I don't have something specific I could send you, but we could talk about it, and I could kind of explain how that works, like how to optimize your website from the back end, filling that out, yeah, and your meta title and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna try and build in like touch on Placer a little bit because I don't teach Placer, but I found a lot of cool tricks that you can do on Placer. It makes it look kind of custom and yeah.
Can you do a blog on Facebook?
Yes.
So it can be all in one place, you can just go to one place.
Yeah.
Because I tried to do a blog on Google Drive, because they have a free template,
And
it's so basic.
yeah, I would connect it to your website.
You can connect it to your website?
I would have your blog connected to your website. There's all sorts of different little pages. Even if a lot of people just don't realize, or if that turns into a link, then you can add the link as a page, which you probably could do because like this form, I'm gonna show you. There's a lot of, just in general on websites, you can typically add, convert, and that's another thing that's cool about Google Drive. So here, what I was talking about. Oh, is the internet not working? Oh, it is. Okay. So this little form here is like live, but like I made this in Google Forms, and then I embedded it into the website. So there's a lot of cool stuff like that that you can do. So if anyone's filling this out, then you'll see like you can just click and fill it out. And I go through the different pages, like what are you interested in this category? What are you interested in this category? And then that's just kind of, I don't know. And that might be a really helpful thing for you to have, like a live buyer's questionnaire on your website. And this, just so you guys know, I have it set up to where when somebody fills out this form, it automatically gets generated into a spreadsheet. So I don't even have to convert the data into a spreadsheet. So everyone who fills out this form, it just gets added to like a lead spreadsheet that I created. And that would be a really useful thing, I'm sure, to have set up like a buyer's questionnaire or a listing questionnaire or something on your website to where people can just, and you can ask whatever questions you want, like what's your price range, like when are you looking to buy, when are you looking to sell, what neighborhood are you looking in. So there's a lot you can add. Yeah. You should be able to, I mean, you can embed things in your website. So I haven't particularly done a Google form, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
So you can do it for buyers and sellers?
You could, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff.
You should do a class or someplace.
I know. I kind of want to.
That'll be so fun.
I know. Because I sat through, I always go to the different classes, and it always like kills me to not be like, it's not it. Or like, you can do more, or whatever. It's not really my place, so I can never say anything. But yeah, I'll definitely try and build it into maybe like the web presence class, which I think is next week. We'll see. But if anyone has questions, my phone number is on there.
Quick question, I'm on your contact page,
Uh-huh.
it says fill out the form, it's long, but you have one there, does it not show up on that, or?
It should. It should look just like this. It's on the screen.
Yeah, that's not there. That's your contact tab on your website?
This is right here.
Typewriter's not there, it's just blank, so I can.
Maybe.
Not here.
Oh, you need to.
Scroll down.
It might be I think it might be an issue with the internet. And maybe reload it. I'm sorry. It pulled up on here. But on the first, if anyone wants to contact me directly, I have my phone number right here. And this is just a generic email.
Oh, can they go down for your?
Sorry. 678-628-8873. And I'm building on the store. We're doing a lot of work on the website, but I'm building on the store right here, which is where you can do a la carte stuff. And then I'm having different packages built in here, so you can find the starter package here, different monthly packages that have been in place, that are just the most common that agents will buy into are there. And the a la carte list is there, and then the a la carte items I'm going to build into the store. I'm also working on building a client portal so that if you were to ever purchase something through me, you can be a part of the client portal, kind of like my Glos Marketing Suite, and you can reorder stuff, track your payment history, subscribe to things, all
The
that.
number was 678-628.
8873.
887.
Any other questions? Are you guys gonna come to the branding class?
Yes.
Yeah?
When is it?
Same time.
It's next. Actually, I think it's next Wednesday, right after team meeting at 1:30. And I think the next week is again at 1 on Thursday, and then the next one is right after team meeting.
Where are you located?
So right now, I just have my home. I'm just working out of my home office, but I'm in Norcross.
Okay.
But I'm about to get an office. And a lot of people ask me this. I have like 4 other girls that work with me on my team right now. So we're growing it, but they kind of specialize in different stuff. But I try, like, I'm like the main point of contact as far as like consulting is concerned. And then you'll probably only ever hear from like my assistant, if not, because I'm super key on keeping it like very personal, like relationship, as long as I can.
So we will be working with you.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah. I'm just such a people person. I want to be friends with everyone. Okay. Well, I hope to see you guys next week or one of the other classes. Thank you so much.
So, I guess I need to set up an appointment with you for seeing you one-on-one.
Okay.
Because half of a majority of the stuff that you just talked about, like you're doing EH and everything, I already have it.
Okay.
And which is so complete. But I need other stuff that needs to be, and I want a very strong social media made in all aspects, like putting, like you know how she said blogs. I don't have a blog, but I like to post something on my. I need to be very active.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So I want to reinforce, have someone do all these things for me.
Okay.
So if I could, as far as like sending flyers out and this and that, we can talk about it. But I'm already doing that with the referral method that I'm with.
Okay.
It already twice a month goes one email and one brochure goes out for me. But I'm interested in a different kind of package for all my social media and for you guys just to take over, just to take care of like Facebook and Twitter or Instagram, any LinkedIn, So I will. Do you have my number? I have your number.
Yeah, let me see.
I can text you.
Because it was like, I had new pencils last time we talked, but I might have it. Yeah, I have it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I will text you and then see what time is good for you, and we meet up for an hour and see if we can what we can do.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks so much. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming.
So convenient. So where do you get to the spreadsheet on
But then once you download that, then you would have to individually create the tab, but it's just going to be whatever your team wants.
Okay. And so this is you create it here or you do it in Google?
So I would take this spreadsheet and upload it in Google Drive. Or you can just copy and paste this first line of comments into a new sheet. Okay. That might be easier.
Okay. Because I have all my texts in. So I don't need so this needs to go.
Yeah, I would just make sure, basically, if you already have them in a sheet or in Google Drive or whatever, I would just make sure, like, this just has to be exactly like this in order to seamlessly import it into here. So you can just take that first line and copy and paste it.
Okay, thanks so much.
So for the templates, all we have to do is email you.
Yeah. Just email me up and
Cheers. On a scale of 1 to 10, that was like a 15.
oh my god, really?
No, I think you were like together. Yeah, I'm teaching like on Monday, kind of like a guest teacher. Oh my god, and I also didn't realize that you do all that. Like all I'm really using you for is one postcard every other month. I need to get the 3-month package to get like completely organized. So what do I need? Like, where do I start?
You can just.
Oh, I'm the one that should have come and knew exactly what you did.
I
and
know.
I probably learned the most in there. Like what you were saying about organize your database. I'm like, I need to organize my database.
Yeah, that's the first step. Yeah, I do a lot more than people realize.
I
Which is why it's
didn't.
probably good that I'm teaching all the classes on it.
You teach these classes you would grow your business so much if you would just keep teaching these classes. I mean,
But you felt like you have
look
the
how
helpful.
look how much my business has grown, and I'm like probably just as unorganized as almost all these other agents.
Yeah.
I mean, I send out postcards once a month to my database, and
Which
it's
is
not
good,
organized.
But that's kind of what I was saying, how people start with like the 12 directs.
Yeah.
Like if nothing else.
That's,
okay, well just
yeah,
wait,
but
we
I'm
just
really
all
proud.
we could
Like you did a great job, and I saw your Facebook post. Like I practiced. I hope I'm ready. Like you were good.
I think we only practiced once.
You didn't need. Don't practice too much because you're good. And people just want you to talk to. You know, you did a great job.
Okay.
So how do I mean, I need to get started. Like today is Wednesday or Thursday. I need to be like.
Well, if you're gonna do the 3-month thing, let's just go ahead and set up a meeting, and I have all the forms. We can fill out all the forms and like the random stuff I'll need from you to
I'm
do
thinking
it.
like that's more important than me spending $500 or $600 on marketing this month.
Oh yeah.
So I'm ready. Like Monday or whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Cool. Great job. I'm so proud of you.
Hey, I'm Leo.
I'm Mary.
Just a quick question on the starter package.
Yeah.
Do you have a price for that, or is it depend on?
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say if there's something you didn't need that's listed on there, but it's kind of set up to where it's 3 months of $650 a month. So $650 a month for 3 months. But if there's like something you don't want that's on there, then I would like rearrange it. But it covers like with the starter package, you get everything organized, like all of your contacts organized. You have your whole full yearly marketing plan. You have like 2 consultations in there.
Do you like a logo or anything like that?
So I don't specifically design logo, but what I would do during this language is we do things. We'll go over like your domain name, your business name, like anything branding related, and then I'll connect agents with designers, but we'll discuss kind of the look of the stuff. So it's one of the things I'll help with. Like if I have to outsource you to another designer for it's really just logos, but
Yeah, that's
kind of like right now it's only so much of like you like me, but I definitely will help agents like conceptually figure it out and then send it to someone, so it's a really easy process for me. But yeah, we go over absolutely everything we need set up for the beginning.
But on the database side, do you need to do what you were saying today before?
No, so everything I talked about with the database.
Like I'm one of those agents, everything's my name. You know,
Yeah.
Google in the Google
So
realm, right?
we take care of that, and basically the agents just send us everything. So like you would just, if you don't know how, I'll tell you how to export all of your contacts from your phone, and you would just send me your contacts from your phone, contacts from your email, and I would just tell you how to export those things. And once they're given to us, then we organize it. So we do all the organizing, and like we can get like 90% of people based on their email figured out where they go, so that you guys can just go through and be like, well, that's not really a vendor, I need to change the number. But yeah,
So then we just come back and look at it and say, oh, I can move this one.
Yeah, and then you can just move it, and you just change the number. It's really easy.
Yeah.
That's why I like tell people that will.
Okay, gotcha.
And if you want, and we can talk about it more. So if you want to set up, if you're interested in the starter package, we can set up a meeting. I can come make a meeting here.
Yeah.
And we can go over it.
Okay. So I just sign up through the website? Or?
Yeah, and you can email. It's just Marist, that might be easier, because if you go, how it's set up to subscribe right there, you're automatically going to pay, so you let's meet first, so we can just like triple check that you forget about it, and we'll subscribe to it. Hey, so good honey. I was just going to ask you about the template that you used for testimonials. Yeah. How are you doing that? Yeah, so I'll email it to you. So if you have